Hey gang, today we are taking a look at Warp Digivolving Gabumon. Gabumon. Yeah, Gabumon. Oy, I always have trouble with his name for some reason. Now overall, in this form, his normal champion form, it looks okay. The extra limbs hanging off at weird angles, though, is a little bit odd, and he's not really stable. I don't think this version is as good a basic figure form as Agumon. I think Agumon looks a lot better than Gabumon does. But the transformation here is a little bit more complex than, and what they had to do for the transformation is much more complex. So we'll get into that here in just a second. But overall, as you can see, he keeps tipping over. But overall, it's not a bad mode, and it's really the best the designers could do, given what task they had before them. And let me tell you, that was no easy engineering feat. So, let's get into the Gabumon transformation. Now, like I said, this is rather complex and really nifty. We're going to start off by splitting the face open. I just find that absolutely hysterical. Both of the Warp Digivolving figures, you have to rip the face open. Then, what we're going to do is take the forearms for Gabumon and fold them out like that. And then, take the entire shoulder section for Gabumon and swing it around until it pegs into place. So, oh, and yeah, the ball joints on this guy aren't really that tight at all. They have a tendency to pop off rather easily. So, there we go. Next, we are going to grab what was the tail of Gabumon and pull it down and forward, revealing the head of Metal Garurumon. To deploy the head, what we're going to do is open the belly of Gabumon. So lots of swinging and opening. And fold that out, close that up. Then we'll take the head of Gabumon, close it up, and then fold his ears over his eyes like that, and then fold him up into his own belly. And it does go in quite easily. Next, fold the Gabumon feet up. You really don't have to, but I choose to because in the show he's supposed to have missiles on his shoulders, so the toes kind of act like missiles. And just kind of start getting everything lined up as best you can. And sometimes it's easier than or it's harder than you think it's going to be. Now, the one thing you probably have noticed is what is going on with the legs. Well, what's going on with the legs is the last time I transformed him, I put the legs on wrong. So, my issue with the figure is the legs have a tendency to pop off very, very easily. It's just because the plastic is a little weak. Then we can reach under here and push out the clear weapon tail, and then take the tail of Gabumon and split it open. And that will allow us to fold out Metal Garurumon's wings. And one other thing we can do is the figure does have some posability once you remove the tail, in that that is supposed to go flipping around like that. And I had forgotten that, so I actually had the legs on correctly. So there we go. And here we have Metal Garurumon. I really like the look of Metal Garurumon, except there's one thing I don't like. My figure can't stand worth a damn. And that's because the ball joints on right there and the ball joints there are just really very loose on my figure. And they have been since I bought it. I've actually treated those ball joints 4 or 5 times, different times, to try and build up some resistance on those ball joints. And the plastic the Bandai used for these figures just doesn't want to hear anything about it. So, if you do get a hold of this guy, be aware of that. Now, I know there are some folks out there, when I first started doing the Digimon reviews, who said, oh, I've got this figure, and it's great and it works great. And I asked them about the ball joints, and they said, no, the ball joints on my figure are fine. And a couple of others have said, no, the ball joints on my figure suck. So, who knows? But overall, it's a very kick-ass Digimon form. I really, really like Metal Garurumon. He just looks menacing and very, very cool. So, I don't care for the Gabumon, but the Metal Garurumon is awesome. And I thought you could open the mouth. Yes, you can open the mouth. So, Metal Garurumon is a big upgrade from Wargreymon. Or Wargreymon. I'm sorry, Were-Garurumon. Which Garuru means wolf. So, we have Wolfmon, Werewolfmon, and Metal Wolfmon. So, makes sense. So, like I said, you know what? If you guys can get a hold of this, I would pick it up because it's a pretty cool little figure. Though, beware of ball joint issues.